Hi, I'm Dina Lee. This is our introduction video for EDL 851, Module 1. I am currently a school social worker. I have held that position for 13 years, and I've been in 3 buildings, 1 elementary school and 2 middle. I am a member of the building leadership team, child study team lead, and the athletic coordinator. We don't get to be called an athletic director in the middle school in our district, and an administrative intern. We are officially empty nesters as of July 4th. We moved our daughter into her first apartment, and she's our youngest one, so now we only have the 2 dogs left at home, Griswold and Taco. Taco is the Chihuahua and Griswold is a rescue mutt. And when we did our COVID learning, you see him there at my makeshift desk. He loved being a part of my learning. For my pictures that you see around, that's the backyard where I love to do a lot of my studying and reading, sitting outside listening to the birds while I'm outside. We love being at the lake. We love taking the grandkids and going on boat rides and going to the marina for lunch and all sorts of fun stuff. That is the sunset at the lake, and you will find me perched on the deck watching the sunset every evening. And then we did have a track meet where if we didn't have somebody learn how to be a starter really quick, then they would not be able to hold the track meet for our students. So I trained to be a starter for the track meet. It was a lot of fun, and now I can say that if somebody needs a starter, I can do that. So that's a brief history about me. So I would like to talk with you and visit with you about our Module 851 about leadership capacity. And let me find this. Sorry, I have multiple screens up and open and I am not used to that, so I apologize. So, characteristics identified in our research about capacity to collaboratively develop schools' professional capacity. I will be honest that I struggled with this slide a little bit because there's so much information that you could put in and find that would lead to this, but would also fall under other slides as well. So I apologize if as we go through, that if there is some redundancy, but I thought that multiple stuff needed to be on multiple slides. School leadership plays an essential role in school development and will continue to be a vital underpinning for teacher and learning development. So in my building and then in the buildings that I've been exposed to, the collaboration in the professional develop time and during the team times and during the leadership capacity times is super important. And then just amongst the staff when they're trying to build and develop building level plans for students is a strength. I've seen it both be in a building where you had that, and then in other buildings where you didn't, and under different leadership in the same building where one leader had it and the other didn't, vice versa. Honesty, integrity, the ability to trust and empower, communicate, being collaborative and connected, having that positive energy within the building. All of those things are super important. Staff need to be able to realize that they can trust one another to do the things that they say that they're going to do or what is requested of them. The positive energy, those things that are being said in the building need to if it's negative, then it's a reflection of what the building temperature is. And those set the tone of the building, and it experiences the things like that feel of the building that people get when they walk through and introduce themselves to the building and see it. And if it's a positive energy, then that's a strength. Having confidence in the things that you're learning, doing, and decision making is important. Persistence and the continual willingness to learn. Being a lifelong learner is something that's super important, especially collaboratively learning, working with others. We're in education, and if we aren't working together while we're learning, or while we are working together, then we are doing something wrong. Generate skills, a clear vision, convey urgency, and model ethical and professional behavior. A leader needs to be able to generate the skills in the staff for things that they can do and understand where they need to go within the staff to find that resource. Everybody has their own strengths that you need to play to, and as a building leader, you need to be able to find that amongst your staff. So that's a positive, and I feel like I model that because in my communications with staff members, I learn the things that they can do. For example, I have a teammate who is very good at Google information, and whenever I have a Google problem, then I go to her. I have another teammate who's really good with the Microsoft stuff. Whenever I have a Microsoft problem, then I go to them. Amongst the social workers, we collaborate about who has skills in what case. Like, for example, I had to visit with a student about tapping, where you tap for and you say affirmations while you're tapping, and I didn't have any exposure to that, but another social worker did, so I was able to use them as a resource to work with that student. So, you have to be able to, as a leader, be able to find where those pockets of information sit, and then be able to utilize that and help your staff share that and teach that as their power, their ability to share things, their strength. You have to be able to delegate power and celebrate and control meetings and run meetings in such a manner that if you don't have information to share, it can just be sent as an email. And education, when teachers and staff members have their when they feel like their opinions heard or they're part of the decision making, then they have more buy-in. They become a stakeholder and are able to do those things. I feel like I have the strength of delegating power. I always ask somebody who has the ability to do something better than me, one, to teach me and show me how to do it, but two, to do it when they need to do, when it's needed to be done in a more professional way than what I could do. I'm very good at celebrating. I am the person who is nominated or delegated in the building to celebrate the special days of the month and the birthdays, things like that. For example, the Nurses Appreciation Day, Librarians Appreciation Day, Cafeteria Workers Appreciation Day. I'm that person in our building who gets that message out to staff. And also another important thing about celebrating is how do you do that? Do you do that in front of the school staff, or do you do it in the manner that that person wishes to be heard or seen? It makes a big difference. So, leadership capacity. A leader really needs to learn how to be flexible, not just in the everyday occurrence things, but when they have a plan. And for me, I am flexible in my everyday things because I know that at the drop of the hat, something is going to change and do things. My problem is I do not have flexibility when I have a plan made, and I really kind of have tunnel vision and work towards that plan and even ignore a idea that may be better or more streamlined because I'm so focused on what I thought was the right thing. And then upon reflection, I'm able to say, oh yeah, that would have made a better example. Leading by example as a building leader is very important. The one that I always use is when I'm in the lunchroom helping out. If the lunch tables need to be wiped down, then I'm going to be one of the ones that's doing it. I'm not going to wait for the custodian to get there to do it. I'm not going to wait for another staff member to do it. I'm going to jump in and get my hands dirty and do that. If I walk down the hall and I see trash on the floor, I'm going to pick that up because I wouldn't want to ask my staff or any building staff, whether I'm just working in the building or not, to do anything that I'm not willing to do. Mentoring is huge in building leadership capacity, because you're not a silo. You're not the only one, and having the ability to help train other staff to do things or do a dream, like for me to become a building leader is a positive thing. Once I shared that with my principal, they mentored me and said, hey, let's do this. These are the things you need to do. And so I see that as a strength. Conveying the urgency of teaching to each student at a high level is important. We open up all of our meetings with, this is our goal for the year, and both in literacy and numeracy, and make sure that our whole focus for the school is for that. And so that's part of building those. The school's professional capacity should be able to balance and organize organizational management and instructional leadership. So being able to not only identify the leaders of the building by their title, but also in their leadership capacities. Are they, even though it is the teacher of social studies, they may be, and they are in fact the one who knows so much about the Google information. So that's who you would go to for that. For me, it's both a strength and a weakness, because I am able to do both sides of it. Some teachers are more effective in some grades or with some groups of students. I find myself being a better social worker to those students that have a higher level of need and a lower socio income and lower performance on school testing. Those are the students that I'm more able to work with than when I am in a higher adapted or higher learning level class building. I struggle with those students. So everybody has their strengths that you can play to. When there's a high principal turnover, it's less effective in leading in the building, and students' achievement is negatively impacted. It also impacts the staff turnover as well. If you have a poor leader in the capacity, then you're going to have a higher turnover of your staff. Collaborative professional culture, being able to plan and a process by using the data for the school is super important, and then being able to put that out into the school and share that data and convey a plan that is attainable is a strength for a principal. I would define that as a strength for me in some areas and a weakness in others. Openly seek and share informational knowledge and seek to be understood and to understand others. I am always after I do a presentation or share information, I always come back and follow up with, were there any questions? How could I do things differently? What did I miss, or what could be done to help with that? I ask for those feedbacks when I come to those things, so that's a strength for me. And another thing for collaborative professional culture within a building is ensure that common planning time for instructional teams and staff for the middle school setting, which I find interesting. That doesn't happen in elementary or high school in our district. The teachers get time to work with not only their grade level teams, but their instruction teams. So the teachers get to work with the 6th, 7th, or 8th grade. They get planning time with them, but they also have language arts team planning and professional learning time, or social studies or science. So I find that to be interesting. And I'm going to stop here with professional learning, and we'll go back with a second video. Thank you.